Step up.
What's up, you guys? Forrest here with the FoCo Flow Show, and on today's video we are riding and reviewing the brand new Marin Alpine Trail EXR e-enduro mountain bike. Super excited to get into all the things that I like and maybe a few things that I don't like, and overall what the bike is all about. It's super fun to ride. I'm really excited, and shout out to Marin for sending me this bike to try for a couple of months to give you this honest review video. So without further ado, let's get out there and find that flow. So first things first, if you're new to the channel, most of the types of videos we put on the channel is mountain biking content, trails that I get to ride all over North Carolina, Virginia where I live, West Virginia, Maryland, up into Pennsylvania. But occasionally we do some gear review videos, and once in a while I get a new bike or get a chance to try out a new bike and give you some reviews of the bikes that I'm riding or get to ride and let you know what I like and don't like about them, that kind of thing. This opportunity was a little bit unique. I'm good friends with another mountain bike YouTuber who's down in Richmond, Virginia, about an hour from Charlottesville. DTR MTV, Brian, had a good relationship with Marin already, and they had a size extra large enduro e-mountain bike to try out. They were originally going to send it to him, but Brian, being the cool dude that he is, connected with his Marin guy and said, hey, I got a buddy who would ride a size extra large up in Charlottesville, has a good YouTube channel, maybe you'd be interested in sending it to him. So connected the dots, connected with Marin, and they were super cool and very happy to send me this bike, send it to me in a box. Got it a couple of days later with the opportunity to ride it for a couple of months and then provide a review video. If you've been following me along on YouTube, you've seen a handful of shorts as I've started to have some fun getting some rides in and towing my son up to the top of the jump line and back down. Good e-bike worth its salt. Can tow an analog biker up to the top of the drop line.
Let's see if I can hold on to this.
Fine, I do it all the time. All right, we're in eco. Here we go. Is it working?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. You shouldn't have to do much of anything.
I'm not pedaling at all.
Well, that's fun. So super shout out to Marin for looking at some of the smaller YouTubers like myself and Brian, giving us a chance to share the content with our followers like you all, and really appreciate you all watching the content and commenting and letting us know what you think of the bikes that you've had a chance to ride yourself. So as we get into this, we're going to talk about what the bike is and give you some ideas on what makes it unique and different than the other e-mountain bikes out there in the market in this exploding category. We'll talk about the ways that I got to ride it and what I really liked about it, a couple of things that maybe aren't my favorite about it, and some final thoughts. So let's get right into the action. All right, top of ridgeline. Let's see what she can do. Marin Alpine Trail. Got up to the top of this climb fast and easy. This is really kind of a loamer in some sense, chunky at the bottom. Tight lines, got to be able to maneuver a little. Gotta throw the bike around just enough to get around some of these. Grip is phenomenal there. Oh gosh. Move your body around on the bike. Throw the bike around just enough to not lose too much momentum into that. Highline rock garden will be good. Yeah. I mean, just the one word is planted. Just holds line. It's part of it's because it's a heavy bike. Another part is the long travel premium suspension. I do think the long wheelbase really makes it a sled, but in like the best way. Gosh, so fun. Even there, you can pop, stay on the line here. Don't worry about a little, polar opposite of this bike would be like my Rebel Ranger, which is better to pedal up the mountain.
and can handle this. I gotta think so much. I got this super pinned into a sharp up. Shrapnel, left it in eco mode. Oh, that's too pretty. All right. There, left line over the creek. Where do we really get rocky shrapnel coming up here? Line choice matters, but less so, I think, on a bike like this. You get yourself in trouble digging a front wheel, and then you can just eat, pop, down, through. Oh, that's good ridgeline. Keep it rolling through here.
So first things first, what exactly is the Alpine Trail EXR? Well, it's a completely redesigned frame enduro e-mountain bike. It has a couple of really key highlights and a top tier build retailing for around $8,000. And so what you get for that price point is a premium build with 170 millimeters Zeb Ultimate front fork and a 160 millimeter custom tuned Vivid rear shock. And those two components work really, really well together with the newly redesigned aluminum frame and their suspension system. But the standout feature from this e-bike is the Bosch Performance CX line with upwards of 750 watts of power and 600% rider assistance. And the way that that motor is tuned with the suspension design, the coolest thing about the whole entire build of this bike is it really felt intuitive when you were able to apply the power from eco mode all the way up to turbo boost mode. And that really felt intuitive, and as I pedaled and pedaled harder all the way up the Wyatt Mountain climb at Blue Ridge School or doing quick, hard pedal shuttle laps at Hayward Community Forest, was able to apply that power, and for any of my hour and a half to 2 hour rides, I never got lower than 50% battery, even using turbo mode. You can go for multiple rides in that time frame without recharging, but it's super easy to charge with the battery in the bike, or you can remove the battery and charge it externally, and you get extended ride time. So again, if you're trying to go on all-day epics on the e-mountain bike, then yes, you might have to think about ride time, but this was not a concern for me in any of the rides that I did, and the power from that Bosch CX motor really gave it a competitive advantage, even from the other different motors that you've heard about recently that are getting all the street cred and a little bit extra press. I would say that the way this works together with the intuitive heads-up display on your bike so you can adjust in real time, and as well as paired up with their proprietary app to track your rides and see different flight times and how much time you spend in the air when you jump. So really, really well done, made it really, really intuitive, easy to figure out, and that power transfer was what was most impressive as it came together with, yes, a heavy bike, but when you're actually riding the bike and pedaling the bike and maneuvering it around, it did not feel cumbersome. It just felt heavier than usual, but definitely planted. The rest of the build comes with P&W carbon bars. We've got Maven Ultimate brakes for maximum stopping power. We've got SRAM GX Axis wireless shifting, and they come with the Schwalbe Magic Mary radial casing tires, and of course 29er in the front and 27.5 in the rear. The frame is designed with a flip chip and an adjustable headset so that you can change the head tube angle depending upon what type of riding you're doing, up through downhill and enduro and slopestyle or anything that you would want to use that for, up to 0.75 degrees. So you really can tune this bike to your exact liking. I ran it in the stock settings so that I had a good control group to work from and get an idea so we didn't get too crazy with the builds out through the different ways that you can tune it. So once I threw a leg over this bike and got to get a couple of different types of rides in, I got to get a sense for what the bike felt like on the trail. For as heavy as the bike was, one of my biggest concerns was at those bike park, tabletop, blue jump flow trails, would I be able to get this bike off the ground, and would it jump and would it send effectively and efficiently? And the short answer is absolutely. I had a chance to hit a lot of 5, 10, 15 foot tabletop gaps that we have here in Charlottesville. Not gaps so much, but tables that have that bike park feel, and had no issue once I got comfortable understanding the timing around the long suspension and the heavy preload when you're moving your body through the suspension. Perhaps if you are a lighter rider and are not 205 pounds like me, you might notice that weight a little bit differently. but it was very, very easy to vary the speed, the way that the suspension works, the way that the tires grip, and then when you need a little power boost, you put it in the right gear and you can pedal in and then really use your body weight to preload and pop up and over and off of jumps and hucks to flat and things like that. The bike does all of it very, very well, and I had no issue getting it off the ground. When you're taking it to downhill trails where you're thinking a little bit more like, black, single track, narrow, punchy, steep, what you really notice then is, yes, you can move the bike around, but she really wants to go downhill and plow, and it stays super, super planted. Again, an almost 60-pound bike is going to feel very planted because it's heavy, but again, where they have the weight position meant that you could still maneuver the bike around in those pockets and get in and out of corners as much as you needed to. And frankly, when you didn't, you just were able to run right through it. And as long as you stayed active on the bike and it was able to soak it up and make its way down and through without having to pick the perfect line. At the end of the day, for the average rider, if you're not a pro, not needing to pick the perfect line is very, very important, especially when you need to make up for bad line choices if you're taking this thing to snowshoe or out to Whistler or someplace like this. Bikes like that on black tech trails would shine just as well as it would on those blue and black flow and jump lines. It really does both of those things very, very well, despite its heavier weight, giving you the ability and the confidence to ride trails harder and faster and have a whole lot of fun along the way. Sort of the counterpoint of that is if you're in more of those blue type trails and it gets a little tight and it gets a little twisty and you're needing to move the bike left and right and then move your body left and right on the bike, that's where you're going to feel a little bit of the drag, you're going to feel a little bit of that sluggishness. There's just not going to be a whole lot that you're going to be able to do to tune that out of it. You can get very active and very physical with your body weight and moving it around, and that will get the bike to respond. And you may be able to tune some of that out if you're a tinkerer, unlike myself. I am very much a set it and forget it. I like to think that I can use all those dials to get the perfect ride in, but at the end of the day, there's not enough suspension damping that's going to offset that planted feel and give it that more playful and poppy feel. The mixed wheel setup does give it the ability to get up and over on the front side and then move around on the back side. That does come to life, but it really comes to life when you're pushing that bike harder. Again, you're not buying this bike if what you're trying to ride is blue slow trails and cross-country trails around town. This would not be the bike for that. It would not be the bike for commuting up to your basic single track. Again, this is going to really shine for getting you up steep climbs that you don't want to slog up to get down some long descents. Here in Charlottesville, this is great at Blue and School, it's great at Hayward Community Forest, and if you're allowed to, or if you wanted to take it up to the top of Western Slope or out to the GW, you're going to get to the top of the mountain a lot faster, and then when you're ripping down the other side of the mountain, you're going to be able to ride with confidence and ride into your ability levels and maybe push past your ability levels and let that bike make up for it. On the other side of the spectrum, there isn't a ton of things that is specific to this bike that I didn't like. Again, I really found most of what it was designed to do, it did very, very well. I did find myself having to literally lift with my legs to get it up on the bike rack. That's going to be true of any aluminum enduro e-mountain bike that you get these days. And until the technology comes where smaller batteries are needed or smaller, less heavy motors are part of the equation, this is what you're going to be dealing with for long travel enduro EMTBs. So again, in terms of the performance of the bike, once the app got disconnected from the motor and I had to reset it, but that was a minor inconvenience that happens with technology from time to time. I don't blame Marin for that at all. Again, all of the wireless shifting worked the way that it was supposed to 99% of the time. These things are not specific to the Marin bike. Again, overall, the frame looks extremely durable, and I think you're going to get long-term durability out of it. Marin's a reputable company. They're going to stand behind their product. And there's local bike shops that sell it, so you're going to definitely have the ability to get your bike serviced on. So very little not to like about the bike. The price point starts to tip the higher end of the spectrum for what you're getting here. And so there may be options to look for lower end builds and you can get away with not the highest end. But again, for those of us that want the best of the best, you do want durable parts builds. You do want things that are going to hold up with the abuse of a heavier bike. If I had maybe one trail bike that could do almost everything, but then I also had a bike park need, something like if I lived down in Brevard and I wanted to go to ride Canuga from time to time, and if they allowed e-bikes, didn't want to climb up Clawhammer, this would be the second bike, because you could be able to get as many laps in as you want, and then it would give you the confidence to ride the steepest and gnarliest stuff that you have in that region. If you don't have big mountains, if you don't have big descents, then a bike like this probably isn't the category of bike you should be buying anyway. So in summary, very, very high remarks for how the bike rode, how planted it feel, and its ability to jump and get in the air. That was the biggest standout for me. I was pleasantly surprised how sendy the bike was and how much fun it was to ride, despite needing to be a little bit more physical to make the bike do what you want it to do. The build is premium, the thoughtfulness around that CX Performance Gen 5 motor is phenomenal and very, very intuitive. The power transfer feels like you're just riding with stronger legs than you would have otherwise, even when that e-mountain bike assist kicks in. And that really is key, that it feels more like riding a bike than it feels like riding an e-moto. I think Marin accomplished that with the linkage, the suspension curve, linked up with that motor. I think that's the biggest thing that stands out for this bike compared to other ones in its category, and what would make me choose this bike over top of other ones in its category. It's got good battery life, you can feel the power, and you definitely feel the ability to ride and have more laps and have a lot more fun. And at the end of the day, if you're in the category and you're in the market for an e-mountain bike, I think that's what you're trying to do, and I think Marin does a really, really good job accomplishing that goal with the way that they build this bike out. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed some of the footage that you got to see of me riding it and having a little bit of fun along the way. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, I'm happy to answer them. Comment below. And definitely check out Marin and your local Marin dealer at one of the local bike shops. We have one here at Endeavor Bikes here in Charlottesville. Definitely worth checking out. Hope you enjoyed it. Now let's get out there and find that flow.